Welcome to OGS Mechanics workshop. Here we fix all type of cars, electric cars, combustion engine cars. Follow me for interesting jobs from our workshop translated in videos. Let's see what we have in today is an Audi, an A6 with a V6 engine. Probably quite common, but the issue, we've seen it on many Audis in special, an alternator failure. How do you recognize that and how do you fix it? Let's see, because I think it's quite interesting. So this here has a 3-liter V engine, and the problem started while the vehicle was driven. A lot of error lights on a dash, indicating that the battery no longer gets charged. Now, it was clear when the customer contacted what happened, because it's quite common. So the alternator stopped charging. Now, the vehicle did not came on a recovery, it came driven, but let me show you how, because here was the trick. Driving with just one battery, it wasn't really possible, because that battery will soon get drained. So the customer used actually 2 batteries to be able to drive here, and it was quite a challenge, but luckily he managed to do so. Now, it might be just a matter of replacing an alternator, but it's not just like this. First of all, the alternator is a comprehensive part, hard to replace and expensive, and has to be programmed. But that's not all. This is a hybrid, and what happens if the battery doesn't get charged by the alternator, that high voltage battery, well, it's a mild voltage, that battery still gets used, and it brings the charge very low up to a stage that it kind of locks the battery. So we don't have to replace just the alternator, get it programmed and charge the 12-volt battery. We have to work also on the mild voltage system on the battery before we manage to drive the car, before we manage to start the engine. So let's see, before we manage to have the system charging, sorry, this is most important. So that's how it is at the moment, how the cluster looks like. So although we still start, can you start it, Alex? Yeah, we have lots of errors on the dash, electrical system fault, contact workshop. We already checked it, and we know the charge is not where it should be. We will be able to drive it in a workshop, and then from there we'll start the process of replacing the alternator and the rest. Let's see. I'll turn it off, Alex, so you can go straight away. I'll turn the charger off, yeah? As we don't have... Alex, good to go. Still enough current in the battery to be able to drive, but without the alternator charging, the battery gets depleted quite quick. But luckily we managed to make it to the road. Let's see exactly what we're gonna do. So we are at the stage that the alternator is off, but it was a bit of a job.
Yeah, hectic. We had to take out loads.
See, you dropped the subframe.
Yes.
This is the subframe that is also holding the steering rack and the mountings.
Yeah.
We've got a jack that is holding the engine in place. So even so, the alternator sits in here, but it's still not easy to take out, is it?
Very difficult.
So although it looks like a large amount of room, it's not, because the alternator is quite big. Look how big it is. So this is not a standard alternator, quite common. Is it water cooled also?
Yeah, waterproof.
Water cooled. Where are the connectors? Oh, in here. Oh, in here one. Yeah,
Yeah.
two one. So coolant is circulating this alternator to have it cool down. Quite a comprehensive part, and this is not going to work straight away. Once we install it, we have to get it programmed,
Okay.
and I think it's going to be something else. But let's put it on, get it programmed, and we'll go to the very common problem that I've seen on those cars. But for now,
Installation.
put it everything back together, which I
Yeah.
know is not going to be as straightforward. But yeah,
Yeah.
let's get on with it. Good luck. So the replacement of the alternator is completed physically. Oh, this is heavy. So the new one, it's all connected. However, the job is not ready. We've scanned the car and we've seen some errors that are quite important. First of all, the new starter motor, the new generator, the new alternator has to be coded to the car. So this is not very common because usually alternator they just plug and play. So replacement and it works straight away is not the case on those cars because this is a starter generator. You also work as a starter, so it's a more comprehensive mechanism. That's one. The other thing is, in the battery management, we have charge low, back state of charge low, voltage low. After we're going to code the generator, we will start the car. It's very likely we still not going to have the alternator charging, but let's go one step at a time and then we'll see exactly how it's going to work. So we're going to code the generator first of all. A procedure is carried out automatically where the tool reads the vehicle configuration, the part configuration is checking out on the server, and it downloads the software that has to be written into the new into the new alternator. Procedure is now undergoing, and soon we should have the starter generator coded. Okay, so calibration has now been successfully performed. And with this done, what we're going to do again, we're gonna erase all the error codes. And at this stage, we'll try to start the engine and see if we have charge. Very likely we might not have, because there's still a problem in the high voltage battery. No high voltage, this is a mild voltage, mild hybrid 48 volts battery. And there are two ways. We might either have to take the battery off and charge it, or we might be able to close contactors from the diagnostic. So let's get it one step at a time. Procedure still going. We have cleared now the error related with alternator coding. Now we have to see if when we start we're going to have charge. All right, so it looks good. It's actually start charging, which makes me think the voltage in the battery management, it was not that low. Now we had it in a, no, hold on, we've gone down back to 12. No, so he charged for a little bit, then he stopped, and the reason that he stopped is because of the battery management error code. So see, we had charged for probably 5 seconds, and then because of the error code in the battery, in the 48 volt battery, the charge stopped. Now, yeah, the message still on the dash. It's electrical. Yeah. So again, we have charged for a few seconds. Yeah. Even here, I can see we have charged for a few seconds, but then the charge will stop, and the reason being low voltage in the battery management, in the 48 volt battery. So it's gone down back to 12. Now, what we have to do here, I said there are two ways that we could potentially do that. So let's see in the test plan if we can open the contactors. Okay, so we have the description of the error code, and it was saying that the battery, the 48 volt battery, it drops below a threshold, and possible causes for that, and it's telling that we should connect a battery charger, and then potentially if we can close the contacts, we should be able to charge that battery through the existing um, vehicle system. If that's not going to be the case, the battery has to be removed off the vehicle and charged separately. So let's see. Actually, let's do a couple of tests here. So we need to see the state of charge. So current state of charge is 9%. And if we should be probably around 10 or 12, that will be minimum. And the contactors are open. And of course, this is not okay. So what we want to see is if we can close the contactors. Okay, so sorry, it has to be over 15. So if the charge is between 5% and 50%, we should be all right to do this procedure. If the charge falls below 5%, the procedure cannot be done on the car. Let's see if that's the case. If we'll manage to close the contactors, we should be able to. So it looks like we managed successfully to close the contactors. If that's okay, on the next page we will see the state of charge. I assume with our charger, which we're gonna set it up a bit higher, it might take probably at least a couple of hours before we're gonna have this charge. So adaptation is active. In here we should have So we'll have to leave the car, and that it should be in probably a couple of hours, 2-3 hours, we should be able to increase the charge. It might take longer, but the procedure said we managed to successfully close the contacts in the high voltage battery, and through the charger we can charge the battery. So let's see how it's going to be in a few hours time. Now we had the battery in charge for a few hours. I think it went to 10% at some point, but then we dropped it. This process, it's a very, very slow charge. I think we might be 8 hours easily before we can have that battery charged to where it should be. So we're gonna go down to an alternative route, and the alternative route is to get to the 48 volts battery, remove it off the car and have it charged. And the battery is right here in the boot. We have this, is this the amplifier?
The amplifier.
Yeah, we're gonna remove, and under the carpet in the boot, we already stripped it, but just to give a bit of glimpse. So in the boot floor, we have located, so all those components, they have to be stripped. The carpet, this is the mounting. We haven't done them before, so we need to take out the battery and have it charged on the bench, because otherwise it will definitely be way too long. So Ben, disconnect obviously the 12-volt system. I'll turn off my diagnostics, and then let's have the battery off, and we'll put it on charge on the bench. We'll resume. So we need to get it to over 15%. Let's see. The battery is now charged. Time to put it on the car, and we should have now charge from the 12-volt battery. Ben,
Hi, George.
is ready to go.
Yeah.
Can you hold that apart? Perfect. So if we, yeah, I'll let you. Oh yeah, it has some grooves in there. Hold on. Is it like that? Oh, yes. Uh-huh. Yeah. Now it's in position. We're gonna put a clamp, and then we'll connect the terminals. And if it is all okay, we should now have the charge in the 12-volt battery system. So not far from that. When we had the battery off, it was about 44 volts. So I was looking on the scanner, it was showing 9%. So it looks like anything below 15% is going to put the battery in an emergency mode. And anything less than 5% is advisable not to charge the battery and replace it altogether. In theory, this procedure could have been done just with the diagnostic machine, closing the contacts inside the battery and having a charger on, but that would take for ages. And what I didn't like to do so, because the battery started to heat, the 12-volt battery. So that's why we took it off, and then we charge it separately on the bench. Okay, we've got everything connected. We should be able to start the car. Can we do a couple of things? So we have the multimeter here. We can connect it to see the voltage. Can we see the voltage in here? Pretty sure we shouldn't read anything because the contacts are closed, are open until the ignition comes on. So what do we have? Oh, we had 48 for a split second, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, let me turn the ignition on. Can you hold it there? Oh. Let me turn the ignition on. Where do we have the key? Is it inside?
Yeah.
We have 48, yeah? 49. You see, because you heard the contactors, yeah? They clicked in.
Yeah.
Having the right voltage, now you close the contacts. If the contacts are closed, we should have no errors. So let's put in here, and now we're gonna start the engine, and let's see if we're gonna have charge. 12 volts. But let's see if we start the engine now. 14. So straight away without, but let's see, because even before it was for a few seconds we had charge. So can you keep, you know, for the first few seconds, even before we had charge. So let's leave it about 14, yeah. So it's keep, yeah, staying like that. Obviously we know we fixed the problem because the battery is now charged. What is left us to do, just scan, erase the errors so we don't have anything in the control units, but the problem has been solved. We replaced the alternator, we code the alternator, we charged the 48 volts battery, the error also cleared, and then allow functions to resume the charging on a 12 volt system. We cleared all the errors on the Audi. We had an extensive road test and everything works fine. So the new alternator is now operating fine and car is ready to go, but we have a few more questions to answer. What was the cost of the parts and the overall cost of the job? So let's get to the board and see exactly what is being replaced. So we had the alternator, we had to charge the 48 volt battery, we replaced also the alternator belt, and then we have a cost for the labor. So let's go with the biggest cost, 1,445 plus the VAT. With this price tag, definitely is one of the most expensive alternators, so quite expensive on those cars, unfortunately. When we replace the alternator, we also put a belt, which is quite expensive, 66 pounds plus the VAT. What we have charged separate was to remove and charge the 48 volt battery. Now, the replacement of the alternator, meaning the physical replacement, then having it coded to the car, we have charged a 700 plus that. So those are the costs. Let's see a quick one, 900, 2,300, so 2,400, if my math is good, around 2,400 plus the VAT, an alternator replacement. Definitely not one of the cheapest ones. So this was the job. I hope it gave you a good insight in what's involved in the replacement of an alternator on those type of mild hybrids, 48 volt battery. If the battery gets discharged, the whole system won't operate until that charge, the state of charge of the 48 volt battery is brought to over 15%. So if you like the video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the notification button so you are notified every time when we post a new video with a new repair from the workshop. Until then, stay safe, see you soon.